I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Hi. Hi, Jenny.
Listen, hi, Kristin. I don't have time.
Fine,
I don't have
fine,
time for
fine.
niceties right now
Sorry.
because actually it's April 2nd. Do you know what that means?
It means
a few.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry. It means it's 6 days away. Do you not know that song from Sesame Street?
I do, but you're just really muddling the message here.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. First of all, let me just run it down for you because I feel like you're just getting, you don't even know. You don't actually know what that means, and I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Today is April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
That means that in just 2 days, we're going to be at Torrance High School celebrating our book. And then in just 3 days, we're going to be at Torrance High School dancing the night away at prom. And then chronologically speaking, 6 days from now, we are going to be celebrating the release day of our book as 2 published authors, both publishing a book for the very first time ever.
Yeah. No one has ever published
and it's a
book
race
before.
that was a tie, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that math was also a bit convoluted, but what Jenny and I are trying to say is that our book, Slayers, Every One of Us, comes out next Tuesday, April 8th. This is the last podcast that will be airing before we are published authors. You should, if you haven't, pre-order the book. And if you're really cool, you could pre-order the audiobook and the physical book. They're two different things. Really, they are. The audiobook has original music. Jenny's done some recordings that are specific to the book. We've narrated.
It sounds cool. But then the physical book you can lick, which you can't do to the audiobook.
That's true.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you're licking the air when audio is playing, do you think you're catching any of the...
that does not count.
Okay. Bufferingcast.com/book gets you all of the book information that you could possibly need. Jenny really wants to flip pages into the microphone.
Here's the audio of the physical book.
Beautiful.
Was that anything?
Yeah, it's always something.
I would like to hear a little more disdain in your voice when you say that.
In addition to our book coming out next Tuesday, we have several live events, and Jenny was talking about the first one up, which is our book release event and prom, 2 nights, April 4th and 5th, Torrance, California. Joanna Robinson is moderating the book event on Friday. And then on Saturday, Jenny, you're going to dance the night away, I think.
I can't be stopped.
She can't be stopped. She
Stay
can't
away.
be tamed.
Clear the dance floor. Jenny is here.
All of the information for all of our live events is at bufferingcast.com/slayers, because on April 29th, we will also be in Boston, Massachusetts. And hey,
whoa.
April 8th. Now here's the deal. You know our podcast.
I like the non-linear time jumps you've been making.
Listen, it's the 2 in-person events, and then I have a lot to say about April 8th is the thing.
Okay.
April 8th, our book comes out. You've heard us say it before. As a matter of fact, we said it just a minute ago.
Moments ago.
But also on April 8th, we will release, once more with spoilers, coverage of Prophecy Girl, the season 1 finale.
Whoa.
We're releasing it a day earlier than we normally would on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. But I'm sorry, it's pretty fucking incredibly spooky that we're hitting the fucking episode Prophecy Girl on the day the book releases, in the week the book releases. And not only that, but that evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time, will be live for a virtual event that anyone can attend. And you can learn all about this, bufferandcast.com/slayers.
All of those events are going to be so fun. And also the book is coming out, which I don't actually know if anyone is going to read it, listen to it, or even like it. But it will be a load off my mind just having it out in the world.
People already have read it and loved it, Jenny.
Kristin, I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds fake to me.
Joanna Robinson is very proud of us, actually. She's said so. So, and really, who else? She
sent me some extremely nice texts. And they were like, "You're so much better than Kristin."
Oh, God. We're very excited. We're very emotional. And we can't wait to celebrate this with all of you.
What a time to be alive.
But for right now, let's find out what happens when you don't pay attention to a girl at your high school.
See, and don't let this happen to our book. Don't let this be the fate of our book. Don't let it fade into obscurity and eventually become mean and bully the bullies who bullied it. Read the book instead. Give it your undivided attention.
Please, save the book.
Wow, it really is always something.
I knew you'd be here, Buffy. I know we've had our differences with you being so weird and all, and hanging out with these total losers. Oh, well, anyway, despite all of that, I know that you share this feeling that we have for each other deep down.
Nausea?
Somebody is after me. They just tried to kill Mrs. Miller. She was helping me with my homework. And Mitch and Harmony. This is all about me. Me.
Wow, for once she's right.
Hello, and welcome back to Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers, a podcast where we are watching and discussing each and every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one at a time for the second time, this time with spoilers. Other lawyers who are not me, a lawyer, call me the Beast. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I have a history of trying too hard. I'm Kristin Russo. And today we are discussing season 1, episode 11, the penultimate episode of season 1, Out of Mind, Out of Sight. I have to think about it so hard every time I say it to be like, okay, so she's invisible, so sight comes second, not first. Out of mind, out of sight.
Oh, that's interesting. I do the what's the normal way, and now I reverse it. That's
I can't trust myself. I'm not a reliable person to answer what the normal way is. So.
Well, Out of Mind, Out of Sight. It's got a story by Joss Whedon, a teleplay by Ashley Gable and Thomas A. Swiden. It was directed by Reza Badi, and it originally aired on May 19th, 1997. Our spoiler-free coverage of this episode originally aired on November 30th, 2016.
Happy birthday, Jenny.
Thank you.
This is the one, according to IMDb, where when an invisible menace starts. I didn't write it, okay?
Whoa.
We'll talk about
Maybe this is how she got there.
Yeah, exactly. Cordelia actually wrote this episode description. When an invisible menace starts attacking students and faculty at Sunnydale High, the Scooby Gang traces the problem back to Cordelia. Cordelia really did write this episode description. She was like, and it's all about Cordelia.
Me. It is my solemn duty to inform you, dear listener, that into every generation, a spoiler warning is born. We alone wield the strength. and skill to discuss things from any of the following sources. All 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the canonical Dark Horse comics and Angel the TV series and any related canonical comics and anything that currently exists inside of the Buffyverse and anything that may be announced or released as we go, and especially my copy of Go Ask Malice, which is still in the care of Morgan Ludich. Morgan, if you're listening, can I have my book back?
I have
for academia, for the pod.
I have a copy of Go Ask Malice here, actually. Jenny, our listener, Maddie, loaned it to me a long time ago. Maddie, if you're listening, I haven't forgotten that it was a loan. I know it's your copy, and I haven't read it yet. But, you know, in time, all things. And if you need it back sooner, you just let me know. Call 1-800-GO-ASK-MALICE.
There's nothing quite so humbling as being loaned a book when you are a parent.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Jenny, when it comes to being a parent and reading books? Because, you know, I've had 2 years of you telling me I'll never read a book again once there's a baby. But terrifyingly for our business, the thing that it's actually been way harder for me to do is watch an episode of television. I mean, for work, I just make it part of my work time, but I have been struggling because it's like, you know, she's a newborn. Sal is a newborn. This is the first episode we're taping after I have a baby, and she's very tiny, and so she's very unpredictable. And we're watching episodes of TV sort of like 20 minutes at a time. And so I have an easier time reading a book so far than watching TV, but we'll see what unfolds.
Wow. Amazing. Congrats.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to finish Go Ask Malice anytime soon. But hey, we're still in the intro. We're almost to the episode. I just want to let you know you must stay tuned at the end of this podcast, because after we talk about the episode, we play the song from the first airing of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then after you hear the song, you hear Jenny and I chat about that song, and you get to hear some behind the scenes stuff. Jenny, I think it was Nightmares. Yeah, last episode. The chat was very fun. You took out your bag or your basket of shakers, your percussion basket. Yeah, stay tuned for a little, inside the music with Jenny Owen Youngs.
Due to unexpected fence replacement going on at my neighbor's today, I'm actually recording at my local library. Shout out to my local library and yours. They rock. So I don't have a percussion basket on hand today. I'm just warning you, Kristin.
Did you recently clean your wedding ring? Because it is so shiny.
No.
It must be the library lighting. Jenny was doing like the classic like tapping of 5 fingers on 5 fingers, and it was just glinting.
It is shiny, huh?
Yeah, it's so shiny.
I think it's all this overhead fluorescent light. If I had one note for my local library, it would be about the overhead fluorescence, but it does really bring out the shine of my ring. All
right. So, I guess we should start talking about the episode before the episode itself disappears, Jenny, because if we don't put our attention on it, it could simply vanish.
I know. It needs attention to exist. It's like I am observed, therefore I am.
Yes. Wow. Deep. Do you have overall thoughts about this episode?
Well, I have some continuity notes that I thought I would drop at the top because they're not like necessarily tied to like one specific moment. They're kind of like this and that. Do you mind if I share them?
I don't mind at all.
Okay. As you know, this is the episode where Angel and Giles meet and become best friends.
I have in my notes, this is the moment Giles falls in love with Angel.
Book club buddies.
Yeah.
Angel is going to bring Giles his personal copy with his notes in the margin of the Pergamum Codex, a key account of Slayer lore. This book will, of course, be pivotal in the next episode, Prophecy Girl, but also in Orpheus, the season 4, episode 15 of Angel.
Oh.
Winifred Burkle asks Willow about this very codex.
Wow. What a little nerd we have on our hands here, Jennifer Young.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like pushing your glasses up on your nose, you know.
All right. Well, somebody's got to do it. Also of note, in this episode, Willow wears a white Scooby-Doo shirt. In the season 2 pilot, Xander wears a red Scooby-Doo shirt. In Beauty and the Beasts, Willow will keep her forensic tools. Willow will keep her forensic tools, ? In a Scooby-Doo lunchbox.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, we all know that coming up in What's My Line, mid-season 2, we will start referring to Buffy's friend group as the Scooby Gang.
So we're dropping Scooby treats as we go.
Scooby snacks
Scooby
all
snacks,
along the
thank
path.
you. When I said Scooby treats, I was like, there's a word for that, actually.
Okay. Also worth mentioning, or not, you tell me. All of the flashback scenes in this episode are in sepia tone. This is the only time in the Buffyverse this effect is used.
Wow. It is the effect I was using in this timeline with all of my video editing that I was doing as an amateur editor. Sepia was like revolutionary at this moment in time for you children. It was like, oh my God, it was like in high school, we would like take our poetry and like burn the edges to make it look oldie timey or whatever. And then like on video, they were like, hey, you can do it to your video too. Just simply add sepia. I'm pretty sure that on my camcorder, I would actually just record, like I couldn't even ever see it in color because I would just like switch it to sepia to record, you know? My camcorder also had night vision, and so we would play like camcorder tag, which was like,
whoa.
Yeah, we would like play tag in the dark, and you just like couldn't get caught by the camera lens. Anyway, I have a lot of sepia thoughts. Sepia was big in my life. Mm-hmm.
I've got one more piece of information that I think you're really going to like.
Yes.
As you know, we visit Marcy's nest.
Yeah.
And we see some of her belongings. Of course, I love when you know you meet a character, a new character, and they're like, "How do we tell you about this girl?" They're like, and often in a lesser show, a new character will have one character trait. In Yellow Jackets, for example, for an entire season, Melissa's main character trait was backwards baseball cap. Okay.
Foreshadowing for Melissa.
Yeah, that's her personality, and then it sort of blossoms in the exact direction you might think. In this show, we get two personality traits. It's unpopular and flute girl.
Flute girl.
So we see her flute, we see her sheet music, whatever. Guess what else is up there? A doll.
A doll?
Who you know. A doll you know.
What do you mean?
A doll we'll see again. A doll named Miss Edith.
Shut the fuck up. Really? Miss Edith is up there?
Just a prop that gets repurposed.
But what if we gave
Miss
Miss
Edith
a recurring
role?
storyline? What if Drusilla like occasionally stops by FBI headquarters to see what's up and what's going on? And she really took a liking to Marcy because she felt like Marcy really got the wrong end of the story in this. And so, you know, she wanted to go by, but then she saw the doll and she said, "You have this teddy bear, so I'm going to take Miss Edith." We can workshop it, make the story better, but, you know.
Do you think a vampire could enter the J. Edgar Hoover building and other FBI affiliated buildings
I
because
think so.
They're government owned and therefore kind of like paid by taxpayer dollars, but vampires don't pay taxes?
Yeah, but
getting a little.
But like, if they can enter a school, wouldn't the same?
Well, that's because I think the reason that's been given for that is that like, am I remembering correctly? Like some kind of like, enter ye all who seek
there's
knowledge.
Like a sign. Yeah. I remember that being a part of our conversation. But there's probably some kind of Latin written on the front of the J. Edgar Hoover building that means "Come enter ye who seek the X-Files" or anything mysterious. I don't know. Anyway, I don't love this episode, but I'm just gonna say it.
It's not my favorite, although we do get a lot of great Cordelia stuff.
Yeah, and we get Clea
Duvall. Highlight.
We get Clea Duvall, and like that's what I remember when I think of this episode. I'm like, oh, it's so fun because Clea Duvall is here, and you know, certainly if you're queer and of a certain age, Clea Duvall holds a very important place in your heart. Queer wherever we find her, including, I posit, here in this episode of television. But when I returned to it, I was like, oh, apart from like being excited about Clea Duvall and also the Angel Giles, like tiny little aside is important and I enjoy. It's not very great. And also, okay, so season 1, first round, Jenny, we got a lot of shit for dragging Xander, which like I still will drag Xander, but we've had a different approach to Xander in this first season. And we got a little bit of shit for exalting Cordelia. Now, I will exalt Cordelia until the day is done or whatever you say.
All the livelong day.
All the livelong day, okay? Because I think Cordelia's arc is massively amazing and powerful. And I think that's part of the reason why we were exalting her even back when we didn't have spoilers. But there is this... Okay, so Merchant of Venice is placed just at the center of this little episode. Miss Miller is teaching this Shakespearean play to the class. I don't know a lot of Shakespeare, and the Shakespeare I know, I don't know a lot about, okay? I will admit
I'm shocked. I'm shocked and shocked.
I'm a theater kid, right? And so, like, the Shakespeare I know, but I didn't do a lot of Shakespeare. I loved it. The few Shakespeare classes that I took, performance-wise, very cool, very cool. But I don't know a damn thing about The Merchant of Venice. I sort of, like, have the name Shylock in my brain as, like, that seems like a thing that I should know more about, and I don't. So I looked up... sort of the Cliff's Notes of Merchant of Venice, and Shylock is a pretty problematically placed character, right? Merchant of Venice Shylock is a Jew. His daughter falls in love with a Christian, and he also is in this like bartering disagreement where he's owed a pound of flesh was the deal if the Christian didn't like pay him back what he was owed. And Shylock, and I'm for you Shakespearean kids who are listening to this, I apologize, but we have me and we have Jenny, and so I'm taking up the mantle. Okay.
I did weapons and Greek mythology research on this episode, and Kristin took Shakespeare.
I took Shakespeare. But essentially, and you get it, we get a little bit of this in the scene with Cordelia and Miss Miller, right? There's this beautiful speech where Shylock is like, if you prick me, do I not bleed? Like, we know this. Even if you don't even know it's Shakespeare, like, it's just in, like, the cultural consciousness, I think. Like, if you prick me, do I not bleed, right? And it's a beautiful monologue.
I couldn't believe when she hit tickle me, do I not laugh? I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah, we know.
Well, I thought it was, like, pricking and bleeding and vengeance. What, tickle?
It's sort of the third verse of Jingle Bells of the speech.
Yeah, the sleeper line.
But to make a very long, and this, because you could do a whole episode on Shylock as a character and as an anti-Semitic character in Shakespeare, because the long and short of it is that Shylock is portrayed as greedy, as somebody who is after money, and using a lot of the stereotypes, the anti-Semitic stereotypes that were prevalent in this time and are still, unfortunately, quite prevalent. I didn't know that Jews were expelled from England in 1290, but this is Shakespeare's time. So there actually were not Jews in England in Shakespeare's time when he's writing this.
That's why they had to go to Venice for this play?
Yeah, Merchant of Venice. But seriously, like, you know, I've read some, like, analysis of the play, and most of it is like, this is anti-Semitic. And some of it is like, but perhaps Shakespeare is trying to say, you know, like the monologue is the core of it. Regardless, Shylock is a character that is portrayed in ways that are incredibly unfortunate and, you know, we see echoed throughout. And the reason that I mean, obviously we have to talk about it because it's here, and it's here because it's being compared to Marcy. And what's crazy to me is that I think Shylock is this character who is extremely wronged. And by the way, at the end, instead of him getting killed, which he doesn't, he converts to Christianity. That's the sort of the end of Shylock's...
a happy ending.
Yeah, that's sort of the end of Shylock's story. So, like, pretty fucked. And I just felt like the problems that are sort of inside of that Shakespearean play are still very much here with Marcy, because Marcy is this character who is literally rendered invisible because people, especially Cordelia, is incredibly mean to her or just doesn't acknowledge her presence at all. But she is, and Buffy even gives voice to it, right? But she's actually, quote, crazy. And so she's portrayed kind of throughout as just like maniacal and like that she's going to cut up Cordelia's face and all this stuff. And so I again, having not read Merchant of Venice, I feel like there's just this similar loop of, okay, but do we get any of Shylock's actual story, and do we see the humanity of Shylock? It doesn't seem like it, except for perhaps in that monologue. And do we see the humanity of Marcy in this episode and see the fact that this is somebody who is like been deeply hurt? Not really, because it's kind of overshadowed by the fact that she's the villain and the episode description, right? The invisible menace. It just feels like they don't unpack.
Yeah, we get these very brief flashbacks to show like, how did we get here? What is her villain origin story?
Right. It's a villain origin story, and you can do that, but I think you can do it. No, I know you can do it better than it's done here. So, sorry for taking us on a Shylock detour right at the jump, but I think I don't love this episode because I just think it's not the best episode. But I also don't love the episode because I think it could have taken some things to task in a way that Buffy often does, and it did not. And to close my loop, we exalted Cordelia in season 1, and Cordelia is she does some extremely fucked up shit in this episode that I'm pretty sure we didn't take her to task on in our first conversation. So perhaps we shall as we enter the episode.
Not since Bella Swan has a girl been such a klutz. I thought vampire slayers were preternaturally strong, agile, and like had like poise and what's the word I'm looking for when you're good at walking and not
good at walking,
dropping your bag full of weapons.
You have good balance. You are
graceful.
I think poise is the one that I would use, but
poise, but also has like sort of a more social context, whereas like graceful, I feel like is like there's a physicality that's inherent.
Buffy doesn't have it.
Buffy comes flying out of the library and crashes into Cordelia, who's walking down the hall with Harmony and her new boyfriend, varsity baseball player Mitch.
Mitch seems like a fake person. Like Mitch is a Ken doll.
He's definitely around. AI generated.
Yeah, right. At the jump of this episode, because she crashes, she drops all her weapons, and she's like, "Oh no, it's for history." And Cordelia could give two shits. Mm-mm. Buffy could have dropped a dead body in front of her, and Cordelia would have been like, "Whatever, loser."
Can I talk to you for a sec about these weapons? Because it really, I got tripped up.
This is your you noted that
this is my weapons research because I can't remember if it was here or somewhere else that I've really been hung up on morning stars, maces, and ... something else ? Here's the deal. What flies out of her bag? A huge wooden cross, multiple stakes, either a very long knife or a very short sword with a curve at the end of the blade, and it probably has a name. And this is where I was like, I wrote in my notes, do we have a medieval weapons expert in the listenership? And if so, can you write us an email at hello@bufferingcast.com? We'd love to talk to you. Here's where I like really was having a hard time. The last weapon, the final weapon, and the one closest to my heart from childhood, spent obsessed with like Dragonlance novels and like going to medieval times and stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a stick. Mm-hmm. The end of the stick, it's probably like a foot long. There is a chain, and then attached at the end of the chain is a spiked ball.
Yes.
I have lived my adult life thinking this was a morning star, but guess what?
It's not a morning star?
It's not a morning star.
Oh, because the morning star has no chain. It's just the ball with the spikes?
So I thought mace, ball, no chain, stick. Morning star, ball, chain, stick. But actually, both the mace and the morning star are spiked ball and stick. The difference is that the morning star has longer spikes on it.
Oh, wow.
Than the mace. And as far as I can tell, and until I'm corrected by our, I'm sure, vast medieval weapons expert listenership, I'm going to be sticking to it. I believe this is actually a morning star flail. The flail is... The umbrella of flail involves stick and chain.
I just like...
And then you might have different fun stuff at the end.
I recently told Joanna Robinson that I'm mad at her, even though it's not her choice to do video for podcasting, because I'm like, the whole point of podcasting is they can't see us. Why are we doing this? Why are we making videos? Don't make us make videos. And I'm terrified about the prospect of having to turn this into a video podcast. But I will tell you, Jenny, that the listeners really miss out on for every small pause that Jenny makes, she looks at me so meaningfully, like, okay, you got me, the stick with the thing, and then eye contact, and it's just it really does add a certain flavor that you're missing at home.
Thank you.
Thank you for that weapons lesson.
I mean, I hope I was right.
I think it was a little bit better than my Shylock lesson, but it's okay. It's fine. I want to say the beginning here where Buffy's all sad in the hallway because they're bullying her or whatever. In my notes, I was like, this doesn't seem like Buffy. Why does she care that what Cordelia thinks? And then as the episode unfolded, it becomes clearer that she's not really upset that Cordelia is being an asshole to her. She's upset because she realizes her life as someone who can care about the things that Cordelia cares about is over as the Slayer, which had a deeper resonance for me and made me sad for her. So
yeah.
Okay. English class, Miss Miller. Thank fucking God Miss Miller didn't get killed, because I'll tell you what, I was like, do not. I'm
pretty sure we never see her again, but she
lived.
She's up there with Dr. Gregory in terms of all-timer Sunnydale High School teaching staff.
Yeah, teaching
Great
staff
vibe.
that cares about the kids, though. I have to say, I just don't really buy that she would be as sympathetic to Cordelia as she is written in this particular script. Cordelia.
She definitely seems like her eyebrow is raised when Cordelia is saying a bunch of stuff. She's like, interesting point. And then, because as every teacher on television ever has and ever shall, she started class 2 minutes before the bell.
The bell rang. Let's hear. So we already talked about Shylock, right? They're discussing Merchant of Venice. Let's hear what Cordelia would like to add to the conversation.
Shylock should get over himself. People who think their problems are so huge craze me. Like this time I sort of ran over this girl on her bike. It was the most traumatizing event of my life, and she's trying to make it about her leg. Like my pain meant nothing.
So this is and also, we have not said it explicitly, but Miss Miller is a Black woman who's teaching class. Sunnydale is predominantly white, as you know, if you watch this television show. This particular play is in conversation around a Jewish character and how that character is ostracized and villainized, et cetera, et cetera. But Cordelia is really showing up as the white lady in the classroom, sort of being like, why is it all about Shylock? Why is it all about him and his pain, right? No concept of being able to think that someone's experience who's different from you might be something you can't perceive or be, different from yours in ways that are very important. I can't put that on Miss Miller. I don't know where she's at in her experience of Sunnydale, but it's just a particular thing to have Cordelia showing up like this in a classroom with one of the few Black characters that we have in the show. And this is Cordelia. She is absolutely centered around herself in all ways, including this one. Miss Miller, I'm excited to most diplomatic. I'm excited to know someone has done the reading.
Yeah, I love that Cordelia is revealed here to care enough about school that she wants to get guidance from her teacher about how she can hone the concept of this paper that she has to write.
I do too. Clueless is after this or before this? We've discussed this so many times and I always forget. I think it might be before this, but I
believe it's before.
It's very I think so often the mean girls in shows and movies, especially around this time, are portrayed as also not giving a fuck about school, being really stupid and sort of airhead, right? That vibe. And this is along the clueless lines of thinking, right? You can be the popular girl at school and maybe not even always very nice and still be smart and interested in learning and able to like think past whatever. So I do like that as well.
When Willow weighs in, and of course I'm like, is
Yes.
Willow weighing in on Shylock being looked down on by the other people in his community as a moment of her nearly almost always invisible Jewish identity.
Right. It definitely has meaning that she is the one in class that speaks up, sort of contradicting Cordelia and being like, I think actually there's a misunderstanding and et cetera, et cetera.
Cordelia's response to Willow is to say that this is such a Twinkie defense. Kristin, do you know what a Twinkie defense is?
No. Is it about the actual confection Twinkie?
It is related.
Okay, tell me.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you, Wikipedia. Twinkie defense is a derisive label for an improbable legal defense. It is not a recognized legal defense in jurisprudence, but a catch-all term coined by reporters during their coverage of the trial of defendant Dan White for the murders of San Francisco City Supervisor Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone. White's defense was that he suffered diminished capacity as a result of his depression, a symptom of which was a change in diet from healthy food to Twinkies and other sugary foods. Contrary to common belief, White's attorneys did not argue that the Twinkies were the cause of White's actions, but that their consumption was symptomatic of his underlying depression.
What? What's incredible is a Twinkie defense made me think that it was like just saying like, oh, that's a pretty gay defense, using the word gay as stupid. Mm-hmm. So what's amazing to me is that I was like, oh, it's about the actual Twinkie, but it also is revolving around Harvey Milk's. So there is actually
a little gay.
It's a little gay. Wow.
It did get a little gay, didn't it?
That's wild. Never in all my time, in all my queer history, no one told me about the Twinkie defense.
I thought you'd want to know. I thought you'd want to know.
I did. I'm so happy to have been taught.
Listen, Cordelia's handmade dress is ready. And she is like, Mitch is going to die. The last thing I want if I'm a student at Sunnydale High is anyone ever saying that I'm going to die and then for the camera to cut to me.
Yeah, and then
you don't want that.
And then
especially in the cold open.
And then for my line to be, it's not her arm I'm looking to be on, therefore making everyone at home want to also murder Mitch.
Okay, see, you think that's Mitch's greatest crime, but let me tell you the reality. Mitch is in the shower. Uh-huh. Mitch is showering off, okay? He puts a towel around his waist without drying his body off at all. So he's like soaking wet, but he has like a towel skirt. Then he walks over to his locker where he has a whole other towel, which he briefly uses to pat his head and like one shoulder. He is still covered in water. No. He's still soaking wet. And this psychopath, starts getting dressed, pulling his dry clothes on over his soaking wet skin. Kristin, this is wrong.
I agree with you. But you continue to give me more reason to consider making this a video podcast. It is. I didn't even notice. I was too upset by it's not her arm I'm looking to be on. Which kind of feels like if someone's going to be on something, wouldn't it be Cordelia who would be on something? I mean, I guess you could really look at it either way. Anyway, Jenny just has her palm flat and is like putting it high and then low and then high and then low.
This is the universally recognized hand motion for heterosexual missionary.
On that note, let's play the patriarchy jingle for Mitch. The patriarchy! Okay. Marcy picks up the bat, invisible, Marcy picks up the bat and wails the shit out of Mitch. So far, Team Marcy.
Yeah. Another thing I never want if I'm a Sunnydale High student is to hear a disembodied giggle. It's a no for me.
Marcy's giggle is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. So we go to the credits and we come back and Cordelia is handing out the chocolates in the letter C. She had these custom made, we think, or is it like Cadbury chocolates and the C is actually for Cadbury, but she's repurposed them. I would like some recognition for the fact that I just thought of a chocolate name that starts with a C and I had a baby 5 weeks ago. Thank you.
That was really good.
Thank you,
Kristin.
And so this is where another layer is added to Buffy because Cordelia is sort of like, fuck you, Buffy, you're stupid. And Xander and Willow unintentionally are also making Buffy feel kind of like outside of everything else because they have these inside jokes, right? They've been in school together since they were teeny tiny. And Buffy doesn't understand what they're talking about. Willow, Allison Hannigan doing an amazing job at laughing at something that hasn't been said. I was like, this is so believable. And she's fully committed to it, you know?
Yeah. Bud runs in and is like, guys, come on. Mitch got wailed on. You know how you're always like, hey, come look at my friend who got beat up. Yeah. Snyder very quick to assert that there are no dead students here this week.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that these EMTs stop so that Buffy can question Mitch. They're like, okay, yes, she looks like she's in charge.
Yeah. Sometimes it's all about just looking like you're in charge. Not to get anybody in any kind of trouble, but the amount of times, especially because of, being married to you, Jenny, for a long time. I've been around green rooms for a long time in my life for various reasons. And I will tell you that the amount of times that I didn't have any, like I didn't show anybody anything, but I knew that I had access to the green room. And so I just walked in. It's just really a matter of confidence. Please don't walk into green rooms that you're not supposed to be in. That's not okay. But I just... That's my example of like, yeah, with confidence, you can kind of let anybody believe you. Please note the gigantic May Queen Cordelia posters all around Sunnydale High School. They are unfucking believable. Her face takes
Spared no expense.
No, her face takes up the whole poster. They're beautiful. So Snyder tries to cut Buffy off from further investigation, but Willow knows how to play Snyder and distracts him by saying that Mitch's family is going to sue. This is where Jenny's intro comes from, of course, because they say other lawyers call Mitch's dad the Beast. He is the best lawyer in Sunnydale.
Okay, so Buffy makes her way into the locker room. In no time at all, she finds the bloody bat, and she finds that 4 lockers have been spray painted, I guess, to say, look.
The amount of... Okay, so I'm skipping ahead. But Marcy having a can of red spray paint, fine. Later, when Marcy has a syringe of sedatives...
we gotta talk about...
I just was like, what are we doing here, Marcy? How have we secured these supplies? Anyway.
It's a question.
We go to the cafeteria.
Also, where the glitter that says "learn"?
Show me.
How did you get the? Did you lay the fabric?
Yes.
Like you laid the curtain flat.
Yes.
Then you put a bunch of glue on it in the shape of the letters, and then you put gold glitter all over it, and then you shook that off somewhere.
Yes.
Where's all the glitter runoff? I'd love to know.
There's a bunch of cockroaches running around the bronze that are really glittery now. All right, so we're in the cafeteria. I know that every time we're in the cafeteria, we say, we've been there, but...
We've been there.
We've been there, so it feels especially cool when it's the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Giles
how
sitting at their lunch
just totally
table.
normal. It's just totally normal. The faculty and students mingling together. Yeah, this ain't happening.
No. Xander makes a good joke, I would like to say.
I love this joke.
Yeah, he says they're talking about the bat and how it's maybe not like a monster related thing. And he says maybe it's a vampire bat. No one laughs. I was like, that was a good joke, buddy.
He deserved a laugh, especially they go out of their way later in the episode to show Buffy laughing at a joke that Xander makes that is not funny. So I'm mad.
So Giles has his Mulder moment where he's like, is it telekinesis? I feel like,
is it telekinesis? Is it an invisible creature? Is it a poltergeist? These are the only options.
yes. And these are always Mulder's three options. His fourth being aliens.
Giles was like, I'll need to do some past life regression hypnotherapy real quick to get to the bottom of this.
Willow has to compile a list of the dead kids at Sunnydale High. This is going to be a long fucking list, guys. So good luck, Willow. And then Giles asks Xander to help him, but Xander's like, I don't want to. Can I do something more fun? And then immediately bails on that because he doesn't want to talk to Cordelia.
Cordelia, meanwhile, out on the balcony where we've also been, where we'll be again.
Yeah.
Actually, by the time this episode comes out,
no.
Will we have been there already?
I don't think so. Right before. Let me check.
April 2nd. Oh my gosh, we're going to be there in just a few days.
Oh, yeah. 2 days later, there will be. I literally have, like, we take our notes by location, and I have balcony, and then in all caps, see you at prom. Bufferingcast.com/prom. You literally have 2 days to fucking go there and get your tickets if you want to join us.
Yeah, come hang with us. Cordelia is telling Harmony that Mitch is going to ruin her prom photos. She left school in the middle of the day to go visit her boyfriend at the hospital. You just saw him. He was just here.
Yeah. Marcy, cue sepia. First Marcy vision drops. We see that Marcy is remembering being ignored completely by... The thing is Cordelia doesn't really ignore Marcy in all these flashbacks. She's just mean to her. Like, it would be a little different, I think, if she just straight ignored her. But she's just... she does notice her enough to be a real bitch to her. Anyway, Marcy pushes Harmony... Beautiful Harmony. Lovely Harmony. Down the fucking stairs.
Shout out to the girl that Snyder tells to get to the school nurse and her Emmy-worthy emphatic nodding. She is ready to get the nurse. No problem.
No problem. The nurse still upset about the penicillin change that Moloch made to her notes. She's like, I don't know what to do anymore at this school. Snyder's first words to Harmony, don't sue.
Okay, disembodied giggling alert. You hear a disembodied giggle and you're me, you're going to go the other direction. But if you're Buffy, you're going to follow the giggle through a door that I myself have totally walked through and will walk through again, into the band room, the lair of losers everywhere who are so uncool that they have to turn invisible. Music, what a waste of time, as I'm always saying.
Even though by the trophy count, it seems like Sunnydale High has like a really fucking banging band, you know? They've got like a lot of trophies. Anyway, my wife at this point looked at the ceiling tile and said, those ceiling tiles would not hold up anything. And she is correct. They're like the styrofoam ceiling tiles that sort of are held up by like little weak metal. Jenny's checking her library ceiling to see if it's the same kind of ceiling. So yeah, they wouldn't. And you know what? I would know that just by default, but my basement on Long Island growing up had these ceiling tiles and our cat got up into them.
Oh my God.
And literally fell through. Like they won't even hold up a cat. So they surely won't. Although maybe is Marcy weightless when she's invisible?
No, I don't think so.
And
because
also
she
her
bumps
bed is
into
up
Buffy.
There and yeah.
So there's maybe there are beams that she has to like kind of tiptoe along and stuff to be supported. Okay. The days are getting longer. The weather is getting warmer. Spring is inarguably springing. Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want, like get outside, instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat at your door. I love that Factor has 45 menu options every single week. Whoa. And you can choose from Protein Plus, Keto, Vegan, and more. They've also got delicious vitamin-packed juices and wellness shots. Yum. Get started at factormeals.com/buffering50off and use code buffering50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code BUFFERING50OFF at factormeals.com/buffering50OFF for 50% off plus free shipping. You've probably heard us singing OneSkin's praises by now. Their OS1 peptide has been transforming our skin here at Buffering the Vampire Slayer for a while. I am thrilled to report they now have a new scalp serum, OS1 Hair. You may be wondering, why would a skincare company create a scalp treatment? Well, because of course, scalp is skin, and just like the rest of your body, it experiences cellular aging. But instead of wrinkles, it messes with your hair follicles and natural growth cycle, which leads to hair loss and thinning. OS1 Hair is the first scalp serum powered by OneSkin's OS1 peptide, which targets those aging cells. And it's scientifically proven to help your hair cells do what they're meant to do: grow fuller, denser, healthier hair. I've loved every OneSkin product I've ever used, and I'm so stoked that they are now focusing on hair. My hair is very important to me. I don't know if that's because I'm a Leo rising or what, but it's important to me that my hair is its absolute healthiest, and OneSkin's mission to optimize the skin's biology at the cellular level is going to impact that powerfully. Founded and led by an all-woman team of skin longevity scientists, OneSkin is redefining the aging process with their proprietary OS1 peptide. Get 15% off with code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. Invest in the health and longevity of your skin and scalp with OneSkin. Your future self will thank you.
There are many ways to entice a potential new customer with flashy branding and calculated marketing strategies. But at the end of the day, the success of a business comes down to the ability to close the sale. And for businesses like Thrive Cosmetics, Allbirds, or Skims, it's what goes on behind the scenes, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple, that makes the difference. For them and for millions of businesses, that difference is made with Shopify. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Because if your goal is growth, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And Shopify will make sure you're ready. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And with Shop Pay, they boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. It's no wonder Shopify is home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/realm.
Kristin, I have a very special note for you.
I can't wait.
Outside of Sunnydale High, in front of the high school, 2 men in black are lurking. Mulder and Skulder, which is the masculine form of Scully, are skulking and mulking outside under a tree.
Wow.
What do you think?
Jenny could not wait to drop that note here into this episode.
So happy when I typed this sentence.
Mulder and Skulder are skulking and mulking. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. A+. You and Xander both doing great this episode. Buffy explains that it's probably not a ghost because it didn't pass through her. It bumped into her. It like physically moved her.
I love, wouldn't you love to like have somebody in your life that you could very seriously go up to and be like, have you ever had a ghost pass through you?
Yeah.
I'm looking to compare notes.
Yeah. Giles is like, I'm surprised that Giles hadn't, honestly. But
right?
He's heard about it. He's heard rumors about what it's like when a ghost passes through you. He asked Whoopi Goldberg. Get it? Kids, that's a reference from the movie Ghost starring Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, and Patrick Swayze.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What a cast.
Oh, what a movie. Anyway, Jenny has a sound clip that she's calling for here, and she's calling for it for a reason that I'm unaware of, but she said it's very important. So
it's super important.
It must be a fairly heady experience, having that ability.
How'd she get it? She a witch? Because we can find a witch.
Greek myths speak of cloaks of invisibility, but they're usually for the gods. Research boy comes through with the knowledge.
This girl's sort of petty for a god.
Kristin, welcome to a segment I'm calling an incomplete list of times, deeply incomplete list of times when Greek gods were petty.
Okay, so this is a one-time segment. You're going to list them all?
Unless it comes up again.
Okay.
Okay, listen. You know about Zeus and Hera?
Sure.
So Zeus, god of thunder, king of Olympus, head of the gods.
Head god. And his wife, Hera, head goddess, queen of the gods, queen of Olympus. Zeus famously just could not keep it in his pants. Zeus was like constantly fathering demigods. I was gonna say, like,
with
Zeus
mortal
has
women.
So many kids, yeah.
He would do it in his form. He would disguise himself as the husband of these women. Sometimes he would change into a giant swan.
I was gonna say, wasn't he an animal at some point?
Yeah. And like I think like an ox. He was always doing up to these shenanigans. Okay. And Hera was just, oh my God. Imagine being Hera in this situation. Okay. So we're going to kick it off with Hera.
Oh,
Hera
no. This is where we spin off our new podcast. Jenny tells us about Greek mythology.
We've been talking about it, and I think we should do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hera did not like that Zeus fathered Hercules with another woman. So she waited until Hercules grew to adulthood, married, and had children, then drove him temporarily mad, causing him to murder his wife and children.
Oh my God.
Okay. Please note
just seems like you're punishing
that this
the wrong
did not
person.
Directly impact Zeus.
Yeah.
At all.
Wow.
Okay. Back before they got married, Hermes was the god who was in charge of the invitation situation for Hera and Zeus's wedding.
Oh.
A certain nymph did not attend, and Hermes didn't like that, so he turned her into a tortoise.
Wow. From a nymph to a tortoise, my upcoming memoir.
Yeah. RSVP! Hermes shrieked. Okay. Orpheus, a devout worshiper of Apollo, the sun god. Just like getting in his reps, went to worship Apollo at dawn. Unfortunately, he chose to do this near an oracle dedicated to Dionysus.
Oh, shit.
Dionysus' urging, the Maenads, his followers, tore Orpheus to shreds.
Wow.
You worshipped someone else too close.
Wow.
To an oracle dedicated to me. It's over for you. Okay. After deciding the women on the Isle of Lemnos.
Oh, not the Isle of Lesbos?
Not the Isle of Lesbos,
So
but
close.
the Isle of Lemnos weren't spending enough time and energy in devotion to her. Aphrodite chose to make all the women on the island smell incredibly foul.
Oh.
The women reeked so badly that their husbands rejected them in favor of the fresh and clean girls of Thrace. In turn, the women of Lemnos murdered their husbands.
Oh my God. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's from Thrace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Aphrodite really didn't even like when people would mess around and interfere with the love of animals. Glaucus, king of Corinthos, prevented his mares from mating at his father's funeral, which I just feel like feels very reasonable.
Yeah.
He was like, please don't mate at my father's funeral. Just here, just now.
Yeah.
You can go about your business later.
Yeah.
Aphrodite hated this. It made her so angry that she drove the mares into a mad frenzy and they tore Glaucus to pieces.
Oh my God. The Greek gods love tearing people to pieces. That's their favorite.
I know. Okay. Athena turned Arachne into a spider for the crime of being better at weaving than Athena.
Wow. But then she just made her a better weaver. Spiders are the best weavers of all.
I do recognize that there is a little bit of logic that does not follow.
Interesting.
If you're
so good at weaving, why don't you be a spider?
Exactly. That's what I'm always saying to you.
Yeah.
Okay, Artemis. A man saw her bathing.
Uh-huh. So far, I'm already in support of Artemis. Let's go. Let's fucking go, Artemis. What are we doing?
And for that cry, she was bathing in just like a lake, a pond, a stream, somewhere public. It wasn't like she was like hidden away. She was out in nature, bathing. A man dared to see her by accident, and she turned him into a stag. Another man happened
that
upon
stag
her.
was mating at somebody's funeral. It was a whole cycle.
Oh my God. Another man happened to see her unclothed, I believe also by accident, and so Artemis turned him into a woman. Artemis, that might not actually be the foolproof plan you were hoping for.
Oh my fucking God.
Okay, I've got one more god being petty for you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm fucking ready.
Okay. How about Poseidon when he fought the goddess Athena for possession of the city of Attica? They had a little competition. Mm-hmm. Zeus and the other Olympian gods were going to decide whose claim was stronger. Poseidon gifted them a spring, and Athena grew them an olive tree.
Mm.
The gods voted to give Athena possession of the city, which she renamed Athens.
Yeah.
Enraged by this result, Poseidon flooded the city and buried it under the sea, killing all who inhabited it.
Whoa. My question is, can you grow an olive tree without water? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like Poseidon, no offense to Athena, and I don't think he should have drowned all those people, but it does kind of feel like without water, you wouldn't be able to grow the olive tree.
Well, it just feels like if the gods weren't petty, maybe they would realize that they're actually stronger together than they are individually.
Yeah. Yeah. They should talk to the X-Men, you know?
And then yeah. And then they wouldn't have to like go around punishing mortals for their own issues. All right. This has been the Greek gods being petty.
Wow. Incredible. Thank you so much, Jenny. Standing ovation. The crowd. John Mark, can you please add in a sound effect of the crowd roaring and cheering for Jenny's delivery of Greek gods? Thank you so much.
What if the Greek gods hear that fake applause after I just roasted them, and then they decide to turn me into a stag, tear me to pieces, flood me and bury me underwater?
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Wow, Jenny. So what you're saying is it's very possible that Marcy could be a god, since gods are incredibly petty.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yes.
Because gods are petty. Famously.
I mean, honestly, I immediately thought of Glory. And I feel like, you know, Glory's doing some petty stuff. She's got big purpose, but she also can do some petty things. Gods.
Wow, you just made me think of Quentin Travers being like, Glory isn't a demon. Glory is a god. End credits. I had goosebumps just thinking about it. Can't wait.
I can't
wait to get back there.
Okay, so the common denominator the Scooby Gang realizes is Cordelia. Xander and Willow walk off. Xander's mom is gonna call for Chinese. Willow wonders if they even have a stove, dropping in little bits of Xander's home life as we go. And then there's this ADR of like I don't know why they must have decided after the fact that like Buffy really listening and honing her skills of listening could be an important part of the episode, because as the scene ends, Giles says, well, we can't see them. How do you propose to hunt someone you can't see? Pause. You may actually have to work at listening to people. There's like a shadow shot in that. They added Giles' dialogue. Jenny, do you work on your May Queen dress at school at nighttime? Why is everybody at school at nighttime right now? It's so Angel can come.
Yeah, this is giving sort of extracurricular Snow White vibes.
Yes. The other students are the little birds and sparrows and, birds and sparrows. They're different. So the Cordettes are helping Cordelia with her dress. Buffy enters in a all leather outfit. And she's looking so sad watching these girls be teenage girls and realizing she can't be that anymore. That's sad. But then
she gets distracted by Bach's Sonata in E flat major for flute and harpsichord (parentheses minus harpsichord).
Wow. My note is OMG Marcy and her flute. LOL. And that's the
also
difference. That's the difference between me and Jenny. Giles also hears the flute in the library. And he's like, where's that flute coming from? Let me check the reflection and see if there's a flute behind me. There's no one behind me. Oh my God, Angel's behind me. But he casts no reflection.
Angel's like, don't worry, I'm not here to eat.
but what if Angel was also playing a flute? You know what I mean? He was just standing behind Giles playing a flute.
Okay, wait. What instrument do we think Angel is most likely to have a passing proficiency in?
Oh God. The immediate thing I thought it was lute, but I think it's because you talked so much about Greek gods.
Yeah.
I don't know. He wouldn't be on percussion, Angel. I don't see him as a percussion kind of guy. That's more Spike's bag. He's got electric guitar and some percussion. Spike does.
Yeah. I guess if we're really thinking about it, it's hard not to just go violin.
Yeah. Violin does go with Nausea by the Fire. That is a complete set.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would accept piano too. Mm-hmm. I could just see him. It couldn't be an upright. It would have to be a grand.
What if it was a harp,
Oh, harpsichord.
That's actually, I did the opposite progression. You said piano. My brain said harpsichord. And then I laughed thinking about a harp and Angel. Let us know what instruments you think Angel the Vampire plays at hello@buffrincast.com. Please show your work. All right. So Angel and Giles begin to fall in love.
A vampire in love with a slayer. It's rather poetic.
In a maudlin sort of way. Wow, Giles. So
is this the only time the Master is ever referred to as the Vampire King?
Yeah, I don't know. The Master sat in the writer's room for this one scene. Call me the Vampire King, he said. Angel's basically telling Giles that something's already in motion. And he asks Giles if he's read all the Slayer lore. And Giles is like, I read everything I could get my hands on, but there's this book that I just can't find.
Yeah, when you meet someone at a party and you're really clicking and you're trying to flirt and you're digging through the archives of your mind and then you're like, I know books. Let's see what books we have in common. If we're really hitting it off, then I bet we like the same books.
These two, what a journey we'll go on with these two.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear this conversation because Giles says he doesn't have the codex. Jenny, you knew the proper term for it. The codex, what? The what codex?
The Pergamum codex.
Pergamum codex. He doesn't have access to this book. So let's hear what they say to each other, these lovers.
Codex. It's reputed to have contained the most complete prophecies about the Slayer's role in the end years. Unfortunately, the book was lost in the 15th century.
Not lost. Misplaced. I can get it.
That would be most helpful. My own volumes have been rather useless of late.
Legends of Vishnu?
There's an invisible girl terrorizing the school.
It's not really my area of expertise.
Nor mine, I'm afraid. It's fascinating, though. By all accounts, it's a wonderful power to possess.
I don't know. Looking in the mirror every day and seeing nothing there. It's an overrated pleasure.
And then he pulls out his violin and starts playing it.
It's like, if Angel knows where the codex is, why didn't he just like bring it with it? Like, couldn't he just have made like a decent guess that like Giles could find use in the codex?
Yeah, and also, does Angel just have the codex? Like, that was the question I had. He says he knows where it is.
No, I think he broke into some demon's private library.
Okay, and then got the codex for him. I mean, you know, Angel, he likes to have a scene. Like, if he just brought the codex, we wouldn't have gotten the whole...
He wouldn't have got to say, I can get it, and like pump his eyebrows.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have gotten to say... Looking in the mirror every day and seeing nothing there. It's an overrated pleasure. Passion. All right. Cue sepia. We have another Marcy vision. Marcy just wants to talk about this teacher's toupee. Nobody will listen to her joke. His toupee looked like cabbage. What a vision. I would like to see this toupee.
I would not. I'm all set, thanks.
Everyone is ignoring her. Cordelia says the toupee looked like a cabbage and everyone laughs. Marcy's upset. Courtyard. See you in 2 days at prom. Okay. Cool.
The courtyard. My location title is the courtyard. Parentheses where prom will be.
Yeah.
Parentheses.
Cordelia.
There are like 5 people in attendance for this announcement.
One of the most realistic things about this episode, honestly, is like, you know, you make like this, you put banners up and shit, and like 5 students come. Thank you for making the right choice and for showing me how much you all love me. Being this popular is not just my right, but my responsibility. And I want you to know I take it very seriously. Cordelia.
Buffy is monitoring this situation back in her undercover gear. She's wearing huge sunglasses. She's wearing another trench coat. And Kristin, I alert you, she's wearing a tight blue, well, I'd say scarf, but it's so thin. It's almost like a ribbon.
Yeah, I have
around her neck.
Jenny, I've written it in my notes for you. A giant blue ribbon? ?
If only it were appropriate for me to say smooth as an egg.
Willow notices the men in black. Is like, did Cordelia hire bodyguards? ? And her research shows that Marcy is the most recently missing student, and also she plays the flute. Show me a record of anyone's attendance at school that's like, Marcy played the flute. Like, I just feel like that's not on your, like, first line of your record, but whatever.
So do Marcy's parents think she, like, ran away or was kidnapped or something?
Apparently, Marcy's parents probably don't pay attention to her either, you know? You kind of get it.
Oh, no.
I know.
That's the saddest part.
Marcy, the victim, not the villain, kids. There's a boot footprint in the band room, which is why I say Marcy canonically queer. She's like wearing Timberlands. We don't see them, but like she's wearing them, you know? Buffy climbs up through the ceiling panel, which would not hold anyone, but we'll say there's a beam there. And she finds the hideaway and Marcy's beloved flute. And then I write in my notes, do you remember in the show Growing Pains when they found Leonardo DiCaprio living at the school because he was homeless and he didn't have a place to be?
No, but I do remember in Riverdale when they found Jughead Jones living at the school because...
I think we may have had this conversation before now that you've said that, but hey.
Oh my God.
Once more with spoilers and also repeat stories. Buffy finds her yearbook along with apparently Miss Edith. And Marcy is holding a steak knife from the cafeteria? ? Why did they choose this knife? Why didn't they choose a bigger knife?
We have a lot of questions about where Marcy's getting her stuff, but she is invisible, so the world is kind of her oyster.
Yeah. She could have gotten a better knife. My location for the next scene, Jenny? Not Miss Miller.
No. Leave her alone, Marcy.
My notes are only caps, not Miss Miller location. Then it continues all caps. What did Miss Miller ever do? I mean, seriously, like why? Because Cordelia likes Miss Miller. Marcy's going to go after Miss Miller. This just doesn't.
No, because in just a couple of scenes from now, there will be a sepia flashback of Ms. Miller's class and Ms. Miller never calling on Marcy, even though she raises her hand so many times to no response that it actually begins to turn invisible.
Miss Miller would never, okay? Don't fucking character assassination for Miss Miller. Bullshit, I say. Yeah. She's calling on, Miss Miller's calling on Cordelia and not Marcy. I don't see that reality being true. No, I agree. Not my Miss Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Marcy first went to the cafeteria for her murder supplies or her like harm people supplies because she got a steak knife and a plastic bag.
Harm people supplies. Okay.
She puts the plastic bag over Miss Miller's head. Thank God she just decides to scare Miss Miller because Miss Miller doesn't die. She just passes out.
Praise the Lord. And then she writes with floating chalk, listen.
The amount of fishing wire used in this episode is absolutely unprecedented.
Records were broken.
Yeah, like we in our Yellow Jackets coverage, we talked about how they like used all the snow in like the fucking part of Canada that they were filming in. This episode of Buffy used all the fishing wire in Los Angeles.
Nobody could fish for weeks.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh-oh. The have a nice summer kiss of death.
This is really true. This is really true. Have a nice summer.
Have a nice summer.
The other thing that I remember from signing yearbooks is Lilas. Love you like a sister.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that
Yeah,
shit?
but you wouldn't write that in Marcy's yearbook.
No, you wouldn't. Marcy had no Lilases at all.
No, maybe like a legs.
Hold on.
Tolerate you like an invisible girl. Is that anything?
Yeah, it is now. It is now. Also, she has no letter S's made with 3 vertical lines connected by diagonal lines in her yearbook. Another thing that I associate with a yearbook.
Yeah, that's just bad propsmanship.
Yeah, right. Well, no, but nobody would do that.
I mean, she at least should have drawn one.
Yeah. Oh no, Marcy's signing
her own yearbook.
Have a great summer. Oh God. Okay, so we also find out that, and so does Xander and Willow, that they wrote "Have a Nice Summer" in Marcy's yearbook and had classes with her and don't remember her at all. Willow, I wrote "Have a great summer." See, I cared. I just love her, Allison Hannigan. You know, an Emmy for Sarah. First and foremost, but also an Emmy for Allison Hannigan. God damn it. She's just so good right from the jump.
She's a delight. Nobody can say that it's not true. What?
I just read my next note, which is Giles slamming his fist on the table. Of course. I've been investigating mystical causes when I should have looked at quantum mechanical. Everybody is like, oh boy, Dad's at it again.
Yeah, well, how many times have you said this to yourself? Like, yeah. Countless, probably, right?
Countless, all the time. All the time. I said it this morning when I was making oatmeal, you know?
Quantum mechanical oatmeal.
Yeah. But basically, he says it's a rudimentary concept. Now, rudimentary means like basic concept, right? That's what it means. So this just seems a little beyond basic to me, that reality is shaped, even created by our perception. That seems beyond rudimentary.
Kristin, this is right up there for me with the it's actually more likely that we're in a simulation than not.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's a no for me.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep it.
So people perceived Marcy as invisible, and she became so.
Oh my God.
All right. We get the scene that Jenny already mentioned, Miss Miller not seeing Marcy. I write in my notes, all caps, I call bullshit. We see Marcy. This is the screen. This is the JPEG. Am I serious? Okay, good. Sorry. I haven't slept a lot recently. The thumbnail. This is the thumbnail of the episode. Marcy's little hand, sepia and see-through. And back in the library, Buffy says it's something that we did to her. It's not a power she can control. Now, we start to feel really serious about this, but then we cut to what Marcy has done to Cordelia's face in the yearbook, which is hysterically funny. So she's just simply done what I imagine like a middle school boy does to like the girl he has a crush on, but like who never returns. Oh, giving more strength to my Marcy is queer theory. Marcy also had a crush on Cordelia. Ugh, classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. A tale as old as time.
Yeah, crushing on the popular girl, imagining a life where she says, I know I pretend to be popular and I pretend that I don't care about you in the hallways of the school, but kiss me in the mop closet, you know?
Wow. You're reminding me that I think it was during our Nightmares episode taping. I was like, in almost no time at all, Cordelia and Willow will be in the mop closet together. But in this episode, I thought it was coming. Only Cordelia is in the mop closet. When do Willow and Cordelia go in the mop closet together?
I don't remember. I'm going to say it's not Prophecy Girl, so it's got to be season 2 because it's early. It's early times.
Yeah. What's nice, even though I've watched the show 100 times, there are still things that can surprise me because I don't remember them.
I mean, think about like that as a trivia question, though. That's advanced level, you know? And what episode are Willow and Cordelia in the mop closet together? We opened with the sound clip of Cordelia entering into the library to ask for Buffy's help. This is sort of like the little seeds of people knowing that something is up with Buffy and, you know, maybe Cordelia is mean to her in the hallways, but like knows that she can help her. This is like leading us to season 3 prom, you know, Jonathan being like, we all know that it's you, actually. Like, we know that you're helping us. Marcy also later knows that Buffy is the Slayer. She's like, what are you going to do? Slay me? And I'm like, oh, so Marcy's also seen the vampire book? Cool. But, you know, Cordelia is like, hey, I know that this is all about me. Me. And Xander says, for once, she's right. It is actually about Cordelia.
I love that Giles is like, wait, I'm just realizing now that you've never been in this room before. You've never been in this room with all these books.
Yeah, and what does she say? Yeah, because I have a life.
Yeah, well, that doesn't actually line up with her commitment to academic excellence, though, I feel like. You think she goes to a public library not at the school so that she can avoid being seen by her classmates so that she doesn't get mistaken for a brain?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Or she has like some other like student lackey who she sends to the library for her to get her books so that she can remain only the cool kid.
Oh yeah, Harmony's going in there with like a sheet of paper. So the call numbers written down on a piece of paper because Harmony cannot be trusted.
Yeah, I was going to say Harmony knowing the Dewey Decimal System is its own episode of television. Okay, so they tell Cordelia that it's an invisible girl. Cordelia's like, great, what do we do? Like, Cordelia never gives a fuck. She's never like, what do you mean a vampire? She's just like, okay, fine, vampires. Okay, invisible girls, sure. Just like, what do we do? Tell me. And we get this voiceover from Marcy. I won because you didn't see me coming. Cordelia, you don't remember me. I remember you, all your idiot slut friends. I hate them. Who wrote this dialogue for Marcy? They take your life and they suck it out of you. But then they didn't see me coming. They gotta learn. Give a petition to give Marcy better dialogue. Give her better dialogue, kids, please. Your idiot slut friends. No, nobody's ever said that. Idiots.
Subtle.
That's too much. You're either idiot friends or you're slut friends. You can't be both, okay?
Yeah, you gotta pick one.
So Giles says they've seen 2 messages, look and listen. And they're not supposed to understand yet. The thought is that Marcy will be at the coronation tonight, which for some inexplicable reason is going to be held at the Bronze? ? Sure.
What?
This is like Buffy also is kind of calling Marcy evil in this moment too. Like Cordelia says, if I'm not crowned tonight, then Marcy has won. She's evil, way eviler than me. And Buffy's like, you have a point. And I'm like, hey guys, maybe we should consider some larger viewpoints. I don't know if that's actually true.
I really bumped on when they're identifying Marcy in her yearbook. They look at her yearbook picture and she's wearing like either a sweater or a dress that is just like a black V-neck. It looks like pretty just like neutral. Pretty general. And Cordelia's like, is she really wearing Laura Ashley? Which, as far as I'm aware, as far as I was ever aware, Laura Ashley is sort of like characterized by floral prints.
Floral. It's got to be floral. Yes, I was waiting for you to say it, but in my mind I was screaming, floral. Floral. Marcy was listening in the stacks. Why would it not occur to anyone in this group that the invisible fucking girl might be there with them somewhere in the fucking library listening? It seems like basic math.
Invisible girl could be anywhere, actually.
Yeah. There's a moment later when we're in the mop closet where Buffy like walks into the mop closet, looks around and is like, seems clear. And I'm like, for who? How? She's invisible. Like, what did you do? Punch every pocket of empty air and like you didn't hit anything? I just Okay.
All right. It's time for Cordelia and Buffy's little heart-to-heart. No?
Yeah, it is.
Cordelia's like doing the math. She's like, so she's invisible because she's unpopular. And Buffy's like, yes. And Cordelia's like, that must be the worst. Cordelia, can understand that would just be so awful. And Buffy's like, oh, did you read about it? No?
Yeah.
And Cordelia says,
Hey, you think I'm never lonely because I'm so cute and popular? I can be surrounded by people and be completely alone. It's not like any of them really know me. I don't even know if they like me half the time. People just want to be in the popular zone. Sometimes when I'm everyone's so busy agreeing with me, they don't hear a word I say.
Well, if you feel so alone, then why do you work so hard at being popular?
Well, it beats being alone all by yourself.
I want to re-record the top of the episode. You think I'm never lonely because I'm so cute and popular? I'm Jenny Owen Youngs. Oh, Cordelia.
Yeah, and
cracks in the armor. There she is.
I think this is when we play the Cordelia jingle because this is Cordelia. This is the Cordelia that we have a lot of feelings about. Hit it, bitch.
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia.
And, you know, we're in season 1, so we're only like teasing out some of Cordelia's layers. But I think, you know, we'll see more and more of this Cordelia as the seasons progress and then go even beyond this once we get into the angel of it all. But this is just such a beautifully astute observation that she makes about herself. She is aware that she feels lonely. She is aware that she is climbing social status. And that awareness makes her a bit more of a nuanced and complex character than might have been shown in the rest of this episode where she's sort of like, me. So there's more here, and we will begin to get to the Cordelia of it all as the episodes progress.
Kristin, if you heard something that was like,
No, I wouldn't.
Would you follow it to the basement?
No, I fucking wouldn't. This is like
knowing that there was
Willow.
An invisible girl attacking people?
No, this is like that girl who wanted to have a cigarette going into the basement and Willow being like, I know where I should check by myself. The basement. Just don't go. Here's a rule. Never go into the basement.
I thought you were going to say alone, but just never go into the basement is a pretty good rule on its own.
Yeah. No, they go fucking as a trio, they go, and they're still not okay. Don't go.
Yeah.
Stay on ground level or higher at the very least, and you'll extend your lifeline by at least a few years. They go. Show me the footage. Marcy has gotten a tape recorder. She has sat down. She has hit play and record at the same time. She has pulled out her flute. She has do 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 do. That's my flute impression. And then she has gone to the basement with the tape recorder. She made sure there was enough recording to last for them to get all the way down there and follow it. Also, show me the tape recorder that's gonna broadcast this fucking flute from the basement to the library. Another. But anyway.
Okay, so down they go, straight into a trap. Oh no, the gas is blasting, and also the handle is ripped off, and Giles is like trying to turn this thing with his like bare little hand or with his handkerchief.
Yeah. Giles has very soft, let's be real, Giles has very soft hands. He's not.
Yeah, he's got academic hands.
Yeah.
They can't like strike the door with anything metal because if there's a spark, then the whole building could go up, and they can't let it do that until the end of season 3. Eventually they pass out. They pass out, and then who should save them but Giles' new best friend, who brought a little book for him to borrow
and smelled
Angel
the gas
to the rescue.
He smelled the gas. My question to you, Scentologists, is can you smell? He has no breath. Can you smell without breath? If you don't have breath, can you smell? Like, are the two connected? Do you have to breathe to smell? Maybe you don't. Maybe your olfactory senses are still there.
Yeah, I mean, Spike smokes, so we know he can
inhale,
inhale and exhale, but breathing is not required, ? It's optional.
To my earlier point about Giles, I'm sorry that I was like, Giles has soft hands, but I write in my notes because Angel's like, I'll go in and I'll deal with the gas situation. And I'm like, literally never. Show me a fucking Angel who knows how to do anything with heating and cooling systems. Does not. He knows how to read nausea by the fire. He knows how to light a fucking candle. This man does not know what to do with a gas valve. No.
This, much like Invisible Girls, does not seem like his area of expertise, but okay.
And is that where the basement ends? Yes, that's where the basement ends.
Yeah. Okay. So back in the mop closet, Cordelia is changing. Buffy's standing outside, trying to have a conversation with her about her feelings. Cordelia's being Cordelia. And then, Marcy picks Cordelia up and just pulls her right up into the ceiling. When you turn invisible, is it like when people love to say, when you lose a sense, all your other senses heighten? When you become invisible, do you actually get like super jacked?
Or was she splitting her time in her ceiling nest between practicing the flute and working on her core strength? Like
the camera failed to pan over to her like little bench for doing presses.
Yeah. What's the character's name in the Terminator? The lady I love. What's her name?
Laura Connor?
Yeah. She's Laura Connoring in her little exile room. You know, she's using, if she had a headboard, a bed frame, she'd be flipping it to its side and using it as her pull-up bar.
Yeah.
But also she's using it to go down to the local hospital and get sedative and syringes. There's so much that Marcy's so busy, you know? That's why the FBI wants her.
Busy.
She's really resourceful.
Shh. Okay, so Buffy punches just a neat little hole through a wooden door so that she can turn the doorknob to open the door. She zoops up into Marcy's nest, finds Cordelia there kind of passed out, but then immediately gets punched back down through the ceiling. Marcy has a beautiful vintage ? Leather doctor's bag.
Yeah.
Do we think, what do we think is the story here? Is Mr. Ross a doctor? Or, oh my God, plot twist, is Mrs. Ross a doctor?
Couldn't be. The
It was his mother.
Oh, God. Also, Jenny, how How does Marcy do so many things? But please show me the footage of Marcy getting Cordelia and Buffy and her cart of medical supplies to the Bronze.
Yeah, and then doing a local anesthetic on Cordelia's face.
It's just so much.
They got all the way to the Bronze. Oh my God.
Yeah. Does she have a golf cart? Like, what did she use to get over there?
I mean, it'd be easy for her to steal a golf cart since she is invisible, but
just like a golf cart driving itself with like a passed out Cordelia and Buffy stacked on the back and like towing a tiny medical cart of supplies, putting its way to the Bronze.
Yeah. Oh, Kristin, words I simply never want to hear. You're not the student, you're the lesson.
Oh, yeah. No good. We were already talking about the glitter art, but please know that in my notes in all caps, I've written, ooh, glitter art. Okay, so Cordelia's face is numb. She said, what did you do to my face? And Marcy says, your face. That's what this is all about, isn't it? Your beautiful face. That's what makes you shine just a little brighter than the rest of us. We all want what you have to be noticed, remembered, seen. I'm fulfilling your fondest wish. I love that when we want to be scary, and this holds true for all of time, we're going to start with the smile and make it wider. The idea of cutting someone's smile wider has remained a haunting thing for generations.
Evergreen.
Yeah, truly. Oh, I'm going to give you a face no one will ever forget. Good Lord. Buffy has like wiggled her way out. They you know that the Slayer possesses strength and skill, but did you know she also can wiggle among the best of them?
Yeah. Wiggling is one of her skills.
She wiggles her little hand out of the rope. She's going to fight Marcy, and she's going to do it by listening.
In order to show us that Buffy is really listening, there has to be like a light breeze.
I know. I have the same note.
Where just like within the universe of this room, where is this breeze coming from?
The same vampire that does the lighting for the Master's Lair is in charge of turning the fan on for the wind in the Bronze.
He's got like a little oscillating desk fan that he's like propped up on a table so it's the right height.
Yeah, it's a clip fan. He just has a clip to the railing. Oh, God. Buffy.
Oh, my gosh.
Lands a punch. She listens.
If you're going to punch an invisible girl, make sure you punch her in the direction of a nearby red velvet curtain.
Yes. And the Men in Black. Oh, wait, before we get the Men in Black, I do want to just say that I love the moment where Buffy is like trying to listen and Cordelia is like, and then, and Buffy's like, Cordelia, shut up. And Cordelia says, okay. Just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Teamwork.
Men in Black enter. They say, FBI, nobody move. And they say they can rehabilitate Marcy when Buffy asks if they can cure her.
Sure,
guys.
Jan.
Yeah. Buffy realizes that this has happened at other schools as well. What? Kids are ignored at other schools and not just Sunnydale High?
Giles... Bros before hoes. Giles lies to cover up for Angel, his new bestie.
Hose. Wow. Somebody please, listenership, somebody please make me the meme of Giles and Angel together that just says bros before hose. Please give it to me. Didn't you and Bess Rogers at some point go to something called like Boats and Hose or something?
That was the Ingrid band, not me.
Oh, but there was something called Boats and Hose, right?
Well, I believe it originally the concept comes from The Office, I think. And then Bess and company encountered an actual Boats and Hose party inspired by The Office.
Okay.
While on tour.
Sorry, a little detour. Go back to Bros Before Hose. Someone please make it. Send it. hello@bufferandcast.com. Thank you so much. To be clear, Jenny was saying that because Giles lies to protect the fact that Angel was the one who saved them. And but the reason do you think Giles already knows about the prophecy? Is that why? Because he's deflecting. Is he deflecting?
No. He doesn't know about the prophecy. He just knows that because Angel was like, it's too hard to be around her when they first hung out. So Giles is keeping it a secret, honestly, to protect Angel and also really to protect Buffy. So bro's right alongside host.
Oh God. All right.
Cordelia is like, hey guys, thanks. And it looks like they almost might be able to start to become friends. But then Mitch rolls up and is like, you're not hanging with these losers, are you? Here's the thing. Mitch is obviously not the alpha in this relationship. Cordelia is. So this just feels like a weird character turn that it only is here to serve this exact moment in the script. And I reject it.
Yeah, I agree. Then I've decided that they were like, where can we film the FBI offices? And they were like, how about the writer's room? Like, I just feel like this is like the writer's room at like fucking WB Studios or whatever the fuck. And they just cleared it out and put a bunch of desks in it to shoot this scene. We get the classroom of invisible kids.
Mulder and Sculder drop Marcy off for her first day of school. Listen, please turn to chapter 11, Assassination and Infiltration. Case example 1, radical cult leader as intended victim. Guess what, Kristin?
Whoa.
Underneath the header and like the subheader, the rest of the text of this first page is actually the lyrics to the Beatles song Happiness is a Warm Gun, but with a few small changes. Any repetition of the lyrics is removed. The line happiness is a warm gun is changed to joy is a hot revolver. And the last line of text that is visible is not part of the song. What it says is, because joy is a hot revolver and he is afraid of the monkeys who are in possession of digital skeletons of Swiss cheese.
What the actual fuck?
Prop masters writing gibberish.
Is this the slow and steady hinting of the cheese man? Like, is that what's happening?
I was thinking.
Swiss cheese. Wow. All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well,
wow, we did it.
We did it. We sure did do it. Also, for those of you not keeping track, we are starting to add in Watcher's Diaries, where and whence we can. And when we know we're going to have a Watcher's Diary, we put what was Dawn doing in the Watcher's Diary. And LaToya Ferguson has some shit to say about this episode and some shit to say about this season. So we are going to have her on our next Watcher's Diary, where you will also hear us opine on what Dawn was doing. Dawn would fucking love to be invisible. I would just like to say
Oh my
that.
God. Yeah, no, she'd get up to so much mischief. Also, it's worth saying that LaToya is probably the biggest expert we know on specifically diaries that are vampire adjacent. So it is very appropriate that she'll be joining us in the Watcher's Diary next week.
Perfect.
Okay. But until then, until that sweet day comes, I am Jenny Owen Youngs. And when I'm not watching Buffy, I'm usually making music. You can find that music on Bandcamp or your favorite digital music streaming platform. And you can give me a shout on socials at Jenny Owen Youngs. You can also come say hi in real life. In May, I will be playing some shows in Vienna, Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York City, Saratoga Springs, New York, and Shirley, Massachusetts. Come say hi. You can get all the details at jennyowenyoungs.com/tour.
I'm Kristin Russo, and when I'm not talking about Buffy with Jenny or, other television shows that we love, I am working with and for LGBTQ plus communities. The month of June is very quickly approaching somehow. It is Pride Month, and a lot of you have already begun reaching out to have me talk at your workplaces. So if you want that to happen, it's a crazy wild time at workplaces these days. So if you have, an ERG and you want to bring in some conversation around taking care of either your LGBTQ plus employees or as parents, your LGBTQ plus kids, go to my website, KristinNoeline.com, KristinNoeline. You can use that spelling to also find me on social media. And hey, if you want to watch some queer movies or read some queer books, I have a couple little clubs over on my Patreon.
Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on socials at BufferingCast, or you can email us at hello@bufferingcast.com.
Please support our work. We have a very, very wonderful community over on our Patreon, patreon.com/bufferingcast. And we do all sorts of fun things. As a matter of fact, I believe very soon tonight, the night of this taping, Jenny, you're watching the movie Alien with everyone. We also obviously watch Buffy together and the X-Files when we're covering that show. We have Yellow Jackets watch-alongs. There's all sorts of fun things that happen over there. So join us and at the same time, support our work.
This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and LaToya Ferguson, with support from our consultant Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by John Mark Nelson. Until next time.
Well, it's May Queen season, not like Cordelia needs a reason to act like royalty. Somebody no one can find appears to have an axe to grind with her, literally. Her boyfriend Mitch was attacked by a floating wooden baseball bat. Her best friend Harmony was pushed down the stairs by a girl unseen. Yeah, she's mad and mean since she went out of sight. Well, poor Miss Miller, yeah, thank God you didn't kill her. Now on to surgery. Well, you tied up Cordelia. If I listen hard, I'll hear you catch you in the draperies. The suits are here to take you in. Cordelia's acting like a friend. Sorry, Marcy, that we made you fade to a girl unseen, so mad and mean since you went out of mind and out of sight. Just a girl unseen, so mad and mean since you went out of out of sight, out of sight.
What a great song.
I think it's a really fun one. I can tell based on the sound of the recording, but even more so just like from listening to my own vocal phrasing, I can tell that I recorded this with two mics, one on my voice and one on the guitar, which is not a standard practice, especially for buffering songs or really for me at all at this point in my recording experience. I came up, I don't know. I learned to understand recording working with people who were very into like layering and working in Pro Tools to sort of like get like, okay, this is the guitar track, and then we'll record the vocal on top of it, and then we'll stack this and we'll stack that and whatever. And that's an awesome way to do things and a great, thing to have in your toolbox. But for me personally, as like a performer, I think that recording a live vocal along with a guitar adds like a life and a breath to a recording that is a lot harder to achieve, at least for me personally, doing, the lead vocal as an overdub rather than live with an instrument.
Yeah, I remember conversations like in our house at the time when we were working on songs and me being like, can you do it? Because a lot of times, you would play the song for me in the room, and then in the recording of it, it would feel like it was missing something. And like, I remember being like, maybe if you do it, like, if you do it like you did it, where you play them and sing them at the same time, maybe it'll get that thing back. And And, you know, I don't know when that conversation stopped happening, but I remember it so vividly from the beginning of like, something happens to the way you sing when the guitar is playing with you.
Yeah. I think it's like something that I am better at now. But then, you know, I was really just starting to self-record. So there's a pretty big learning and performance curve, I think. And I think doing this song as a one take kind of thing was actually your idea. For exactly that reason. You were like, oh, it doesn't sound right now that you're doing it like that. Now that you're recording it doesn't sound right. So why can't you just do it the other way? And the answer was, you know, also because I was like very new to mixing. So I was like, even more stressed out if I'm mixing, because then you can't, you know, it's harder to isolate and get everything to sound right when you have that bleed of vocal into the guitar mic and vice versa.
Yeah, you know, I've been around you making music for so long that it's now intuitive to me, some of the things that go into the recording process. But, you know, if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't spent hours and hours and hours in a space with a musician creating songs, you might not realize that. Like, you know, the mixing of something is its own art form. You know, when we did Once More with Feeling, the musical, we brought in John Mark, who edits this podcast, to help with the mixing. And actually, did we like properly hire someone to mix and master the vinyl as well for that project, that endeavor? I can't remember. I know we've worked with
John Mark mixed, and then I think that Jet Galindo mastered.
I'm pretty sure that she did as well. And you know, those elements just don't occur to you if you're, I mean, I don't think they would if you're not a musician, because they never occurred to me. It's the same as, like, I've spoken before about, like, if I ever went to like a concert and it didn't sound good, I was like, wow, the musician just didn't really have a great night. And then, like, after being in venues for so long and watching the process, it's like, actually there's so many elements that go into helping someone sound the way they would sound just sitting in a room with a guitar and their voice singing at you. Like, that is its own art form.
So much that we don't know about what we don't know.
Yeah, right? Which is the lesson that Cordelia needs to learn.
Bless.
Have you ever heard about the 19th century French actress with so many lovers that they formed a lovers' union? Or what about the Aboriginal Australian bandit who faked going into labor just to escape the police, which she did escape from them. It was a great plan. How about the French queen who murdered her rival with poison gloves? I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History. Every week I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts. And if you're curious, the people I was talking about before, the Australian woman is named Marianne Bugg, and the French actress was named Rochelle, no last name, just Rochelle. And the queen who poisoned her rival is Catherine de Medici. I have episodes about all of them.
Welcome to the ultimate social deduction game, Blood on the Clock Tower.
The evil team must stalk the streets at night, hunting down members of the good team one by one. Meanwhile, the good team must outmaneuver the evil team using their unique abilities.
I'd like to kick things off by telling you all that I'm possibly the demon.
Our players can mislead and manipulate others with absolute freedom.
I didn't like hearing my name in the same sentence as demon. That was very upsetting for me.
Emily and I will be your storytellers, guiding you through every labyrinthian twist and turn.
How are there so many evil players in this game? What's happening?
With guests from No Rolls Barred, the Pandemonium Institute, and Ox Venture, you won't be able to stop listening. Go to realmspod.com/clocktower to find out more.